Hello, I'm Michael with Mountpac. Thanks for joining today. Today, I'm going to be showing you how to exchange or change out your existing exhaust fan in your bathroom or a different room that you may have. Sorry, this video got shortened. I lost the first part of this video. And the box that's hanging down from the ceiling is the old fan. So what I had to do to get it out of the hole up above in the ceiling is I had to have a hammer and a prybar and essentially pry both sides of the fan out of the ceiling. This was a new construction fan, so it had the metal bars that held the actual fan in place. There I am testing the circuit to make sure I don't get shocked by the wires. A couple tools that you're going to need is a screwdriver, a saw for your drywall in case you have to widen the fan opening. There's some wire caps as well, so you could tie the wires together. And I had that tester that was also. Remember to read manufacturer's recommendation of instruction or installation because every fan is different. Right now I'm taking out the fan. This one was unique because there was no screws that held the fan into place before you took it out. There was just two clips on either side. And then the electrical metal piece that I guess hides or houses the electrical wires. It was not in the box. It was separate from the actual fixture, which was interesting. And then now I am installing the wires. I like to use a black wire saver to put onto the end of it, just so it doesn't cut the new wire as you're putting it into the fan. This particular one, the duct was a little tight, and so it was interesting to put it on. So right now I'm just holding up the box to the ceiling to make some marks on the wall so I can cut the drywall in order for this fan housing to be installed into the ceiling. And I'm using a pen. You can use a pencil, marker, whatever you need to. Right before this, you can see that I held up the fan grill to make sure that the hole will be covered as the grill is installed at the final step here. Here's me sawing the drywall so we can make the hole bigger. This was done by using a drywall saw. Be careful not to make the hole any bigger because patching this drywall with skinny areas is rather difficult. So after I did that, I cut a couple blocks, screwed the block that I'm showing you now into the truss, and then I have another block that I screwed into the truss to the right of the screen. This will allow the fan housing to be installed and screwed onto those and have it very secure. And then after I install the blocks, I hook up the electrical, and you can see the electrical is dangling down with the metal piece, and the black item on that wire is the thing I was talking to you earlier about. It snaps into the hole of the housing, and then it helps protect the the fan so it doesn't get cut or shorted out later on. After I put the electrical into the housing, I put the fan housing into the ceiling, but you don't screw it down yet. This application, you could see that I bent over the two flaps that I had on there. Those flaps are for if there's no drywall installed. After the fan housing is up there, I pull the duct through the housing. Then every fan is a little different. Sometimes you pull it to the outside of the fan and then hook it up and then screw down the fan housing. This fan has a plastic piece that you have to connect the duct on the inside of the housing, and so that's kind of what I'm doing now, is pulling the duct through so I can install the fan housing, or excuse me, the fan plastic piece, which I'm showing you now, into the housing there. After I was able to connect that black plastic piece onto the duct, I was able to cut up a couple pieces of, I had, I guess, metal tape. And so what's cool about this is you could take it to length, you can rip it with your fingers, and then there's a white piece that you take off the back, kind of like a sticker, and then you stick it onto the fan duct and the housing. It was quite a interesting chore to get that black piece onto the duct. For some reason it did not want to go on, but eventually I got it. Got it stuck on there. And so the next step is to put the aluminum tape or the metal tape onto the ducting. That's what I'm doing now. First I wrap it around to make sure I have enough length, and then I kind of cut it off and then remove the white paper so I can have it sticky. And this stuff actually was really stuck to the plastic and the duct very well. And so after this step, I'm going to install or put the black plastic ducting piece onto the fan housing, which in this case, one part kind of slides into the piece of the fan housing, and then the other part it flaps over, and then you have a screw that you screw on to the housing part, and it secures the duct to the actual fan housing. After the duct was installed, I screwed the housing to the two 2x4 pieces that I installed into the ceiling, and then I pushed the actual fan, or excuse me, after I screwed it in, I hooked up the electrical, black with black, white with white, and then this one had a red that went up to it, but I capped that one off because of the instructions for this fan. And then after the electrical was hooked up, I installed the fan, which had a plug, so I plugged the fan into the housing, and then this fan just pushed up and kind of locked in place by a couple pins, or I want to call them plastic flaps, and then it was done. And then I put two screws to hold the fan in place. The screws came with the fan, Oftentimes there's 3 screws that hold up the fan. And then the grill has, it's kind of like almost like a wire designed almost like a spring to hold the fan grill onto the ceiling, hugging the fan. And this one is like a fan light combo. And so I had to make sure I connected the light connection into the fan there. After that's done, then we go to the switch, and we're taking off the old light switch. This particular fan called for you just wire up in the ceiling, the black, neutral, which is white, and then the ground. And then the fan here, you actually just connect the wires together inside of the wall, which I've never done one like this before, but it was pretty neat. And the actual light switch or fan switch is almost like a remote control. There's a receiver inside the switch, and then there's a receiver inside the actual fan housing. And as you can see there, I used one of those push type connectors instead of a twist tie on those 2 black wires there. I'm going to put them on the red wire, and then the white wires are already tied into the wall there. There is the one switch plate that has the fan combo there. This light switch has a fan, light, and then changing color properties. Alright, so there is a fan in a nutshell. It took about 1 hour and 45 minutes to do. I usually take 1 to 2 hours to change out a fan. Thanks so much for joining today, and don't forget to like and comment below, and then subscribe to my channel. Share this video with those that might benefit from it, and have a great day.